Gossip usually starts like this. By the way, do you know what Jane said about you? And here you are, yes. Tell me, what did it, and you are itching to hear. You know, these are 5 years. Even the dress is torn. It's now torn. I don't no longer have it. But now this is when I'm being informed. And whereas she said it 5 years ago, I was not hurt until Mr. X confused my viewer. Suppose you found Jane's husband cheating on her. Will you go report it?
Hello and welcome to our YouTube channel, Self-Efficacy with Dr. Sabina Muchemi. This is yet again another episode where we get to engage with you. We appreciate the numerous feedbacks we've gotten from our various platforms which you've chosen to engage with, and that is why we bring you yet another episode. So today we are here with our voice of experts, Dr. Sabina Muchemi, to discuss yet another interesting, juicy and very spicy topic. Today we're going to be talking about gossip. So most people love gossiping. I mean, I know I'm one of those people who loves gossiping. But have you ever probably sat and thought about the effects of gossip, probably the negative ones, and also just how to stop gossiping? So those are some of the things that we're going to cover in this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. So we're gonna just jump right into it, and I'm going to start by asking you to, I don't just define gossip, because I know there are many different definitions of gossip. How would you define gossip to us? If you just start with that, yeah.
Thank you. To me, gossip is reporting that which you have not been requested to report, whether true or a lie. But you have reported something that the owner has not asked you to report. Maybe if you saw him do something, did he said you to report about it? If you heard him say something, did he said you to go and report it? That's how I would define it. Reporting that which you have not been told to report or requested to report.
That's interesting. So basically it's reporting something which you've not been told to report. You've not got the consent from the owner in sharing that kind of information. And I know at times it just gets itchy to us to, we want to be the first to say what you had, or someone just told you something really juicy and you just can't hold it into yourself and you want to go ahead and share with other people. But even as we talk about all of that, could you probably enlighten us about the effects of gossip, even as we are talking about just reporting all of this?
All right. When you think about gossip, it comes in two ways, because you can report that which you are not requested to report, but it turns out well, so people don't want to think about it as gossip. So like, for example, I see you do something good and you didn't send me to say about it, and I go and say that I saw this lady do ABCD, and so inakuongezea you feel good that somebody talked well about you. It's still gossip because you had not requested me to talk about it, so people don't talk about it. And for that reason, I also want to talk about the negative gossip, actually, because that's what we are used to. But now gossip brings about conflict, and it kills the morale, and it really pains the person who has been gossiped about. But I think for me today, I would want to ask myself, here are three people when it comes to gossip, okay? There is the person who talked about it, okay? Then there is a person who makes the person to know. What I mean is, okay, I've done something and you heard about it, or you saw me do it, so you go reporting it to Mr. X, okay? So there is me, there is you, there is the X you report to. Then X now brings it to me, because you see, if I do something, you go talk about it, gossip about it. You are talking about me, you are reporting something behind my back, because I have not requested you to talk about it. But you tell Mr. X. Then Mr. X, he is itching to report it back to me. So the cycle is complete. I did or said, you reported it, and it is reported it back to me. At the point it is reported back to me, that is when it pains me. so and so said you dressed in red and you looked bad.
Oh.
So you saw me do that. You saw me dress in red. It's a fact.
Yes.
But then you went told Mr. X and gave your opinion also. It was bad. And then he comes and tells me that, you know, she said you were in red and you looked ugly. It is at that point that to ask you, who among the three is wrong? Because you have hurt somebody, you have hurt me. Who is on the wrong according to you?
Well, I think every one of them in that chain of sharing is on the wrong, except from the first one who actually the information was gotten out from. Because what happens is that when it goes down, the people is just left with their opinions. This one comes and says she'd worn red, but I don't think red was the best color for her. The other person carries it forward and says she'd worn red, it wasn't the best color for her. I wish she had done a green color or something.
Okay, agreed. But if you asked me, I think to me, much as you saw my red dress and you didn't like it and reported, I think to me I would hold Mr. X. I would give him, actually I would hold him like he has higher responsibility than anybody else. For example, let's assume that I dressed today in red and you saw it was not good and went and told Mr. X today. And then we don't meet with X until 5 years down the line. These 5 years, I'll still be happy. I'll still be very joyful, feeling good. And if we meet with you, I have no idea. So I'll be happy with you as my friend.
Yeah.
But 5 years down the line, from the date when I wore the red and from the date when you talked about it, I am informed now. You remember 5 years ago when we at Lagos and you were in red and I mean, she told me you didn't look good. You know, these are 5 years. Even the dress is torn. It's now torn. I don't no longer have it. But now this is when I'm being informed. It will pain me and I'll feel no, she is not a good friend. She has failed me. But remember, these are 5 years down the line. What do I want to say? That the person who was, we could consider, she is, let's give her a name and maybe we say the person who said about it is Jane. And so we could blame Jane, that Jane is the gossiper here. Jane is the one who started it all. She's the one who reported about the bad dress to Mr. X. But to me, Jane did not hurt me because Jane, well, as she said it 5 years ago, I was not hurt until Mr. X completed the cycle. So I think the person who completes the cycle and makes it now go round and all that is the person to blame. And it is at that point when the person is hurt. Who else would I blame? I think before I blame Jane, I'll blame myself. Why did I sit the moment Mr. X started it? Because gossip usually starts like this. By the way, do you know what Jane said about you? And here you are, yes. Tell me, what did it, and you are itching to hear. You are the second one to blame. Why do you want to hear what Jane said? And if she had wanted you to hear, she would have come directly. If suppose you said, if it is not what you are saying, is what was said, tell the person who said it to come and say it to me. So that now you will also help Mr. X not to complete the cycle. And with that, many things will be said and you will never know and it will never hurt you. Because after all, you will never get it. So that's how I think about it. And so I ask you, my viewer, suppose you found Jane's husband cheating on her. Will you go report it? That's another gossip. You will be reporting, yes, it's a fact, but it's a gossip because nobody requested you to complete the cycle. Suppose this husband of Jane has been cheating for the rest of their marriage life or married life. 20 years down the line, they are happy. Jane is up to cloud 9. She's feeling excited about the husband. But when you report about the cheating that you saw, that is that's the point when Jane gets hurt. So in other words, cheating was not doing a harm to her. I am not saying you go cheating. I'm only trying to give an example that is really with us here. People People will say she was living in a hypocrisy. But the thing is, was it hurting her? Because today we are looking at how and when does it hurt. Was it hurting her? So the man was teaching, and maybe he had all that, but it was not hurting Jane until that day when you came and completed the cycle. So my take is, the effects are bad, but the person who makes it bad and hurting is the person who completes the cycle and the person who opens the ears to hear these things. And it is not a secret, they get to know it's a gossip. There is a format of starting it. Yes, I would like you to know this and all that and all that. That's my take.
Yes. That's actually very informative. So after that, one of the other questions, that just comes to mind in the whole of this discussion, how would you stop the cycle? And basically, how do you bring yourself to stop gossiping, if you will?
Okay. I will not talk about stopping gossiping. I want first to address my viewer who wants to guard his or her heart from being affected by the gossip. Personally, if I don't want to get hurt, I get I get a rule. And I always put it like this: I will not allow my friend to tell me about the other gossiper. Not the other gossiper, but what they know and had it behind me. I want them to go and tell my friends, to come and tell it on my face. So why do I want to listen to you when you tell me, Mr. X told me I'm tall, Mr. X said I am short, Mr. X said I am dark? Why do I want to listen to what Mr. X? The moment you start saying, do you know what was said about you? Go and tell them to come and tell me. And the moment your friends get to know that you are never interested in knowing what other people are saying, they will not come to you again. So it starts with you. To guard yourself is not to tell your friends not to say anything, but stop listening. Tell them you don't want to hear. Number 2, be your friend's keeper. Every time you hear a juicy story, and it has been said and you are offended, there are 2 things you could do. 1, tell the friends or whoever is talking about them behind their back to stop. Number 2 is to keep quiet and be the edge. So they said she was bad looking. Be the edge to your friend. Be the filter. Be the block that blocks the bad things from reaching her. Even if you are friends, she might one day accuse you that you had and never told her. I always go open to my friends and I tell them, I will never tell you, even today, if I've just come from a group that was discussing you, I will not tell it to you. And that is my take. Don't just tell them, I will not tell you. And even if my friends accuse me, I always tell them, I told you from the word go. I will never tell you what I hear other people discussing about you unless it is one good or unless it will save you. If I hear they will kill you, I'll tell you they are planning to kill you. Take care. But if I hear they said you didn't dress well, so what? I'll not tell you they said. I'll come to you and tell you that please be doing it like this, with love. And you'll never know it came from the other person. So let us stop bringing hurting things to our friends in the name of reporting. Because even as you report Jane that she was the one speaking behind, the pain is not felt by Jane, it is felt by this so-called friend of yours that
in and just hearing what they have to say. And with that, we've come to the end of this episode. Thank you so much for joining in, and thank you so much for even the wonderful feedback we're receiving from you. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share. Thank you so much.